is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. Going beast mode when the game begin. I worked all summer to be a champion. At Venice High School, all we do is win. Man, it feel good to be an Indian.
And welcome to this week's edition of the John Peacock Coaches Show. I'm John Massoni here with Venice Indian head football coach John Peacock. Coach, officially the regular season is over for the Indians.
Now the real one starts. The real season starts.
Now the next season starts, and
right.
It's the one that matters the most in regards to the goals that you've set for the team and all that stuff. But to get there, you had to win that last one, to win that district championship. 42-8 victory over the Riverview Rams. You got to be pleased with the way the team played, and the outcome was very, very satisfying.
Yeah, we played great. I thought it was one of the cleanest games we played all year long. I think we had 3 penalties, which shows that we were doing a lot better in that category. And,
right.
Playing disciplined football. I thought the run game was on par. I thought our passing game was very efficient. Defensively, I felt like we dominated them from the start of the game to the end of the game.
Absolutely.
Got to play everybody. Everybody got to play. A lot of kids that got to play the whole second half there, and just real pleased overall with how we played on all 3 phases, on special teams, offense, and defense.
A to Z. You like I said, all the players that played all 3 phases of the game were really dominant on Friday night, and it didn't feel to me at any point that there was going to be any let-up or there was going to be an opportunity for Riverview to kind of get back into that football game.
Yeah, like I said, it was definitely our cleanest game of the year, and I thought that we were clicking on offense. I thought that we were ready to play on defense. Now we got a whole new set of challenges coming in front of us, and we just have to take it one game at a time.
Looking back again to about some of the things that happened in the game on Friday night, like you talked about the running game, there was not a lot of carries to be had in a shortened game with a running clock, but I thought like 10 yards a carry. You're talking about some really hefty things that you had to be happy with. But overall, on that side of the ball, I thought that the offensive line played one of its best games, as far as you said about being clean, but as far as about being dominant as well.
Yeah, they did a great job. I think Gator was averaging 13.5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Macho did the same thing, was very, very effective, and we did show up, and we did dominate the line of scrimmage, and it showed by the yards per carry and the score and everything else.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Again, on a travel game, which we won't not possibly see any more travel games for a little while at least. But again, traveled well. Team was locked in. There was no distractions about just. It wasn't a long drive, but nonetheless, no distractions whatsoever.
Yeah, they did a great job. They've matured over the course of the year of how to approach each game, and I thought that they did an excellent job of being ready to play. No matter who we're playing, we got to make sure that we're taking care of Venice in the locker room.
Absolutely.
And we got to make sure that we're ready to play, no matter who our opponent is.
There was some comparisons being made after the game about, man, they didn't look that way when they played Bishop Verot, or they didn't look that way. Well, that's the maturity of the team, how it's come about, and it's good that people can look at it and see the difference, because sometimes maybe it's subtleties, but in this case there was you could really see the difference.
Yeah, there's definitely been some big time improvements from week 1 until week 10, and and especially with their schedule we had, starting out with the teams that we were playing and how good the teams that we were playing week in and week out to start the season. So sometimes it makes it tough because you got to just get ready to play ball and get ready to input your new game plan. And we've been fortunate this last couple of weeks to be able to really get out in front of our opponents right away, get some younger guys in the game, kind of get our bodies a little fresher and healthier. And I think this time of the year, one thing that I try to do as a head coach is make sure that we're at our peak physical best, and make sure that we are as fresh as we possibly can at this time of the year.
Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton come through. They messed the schedule up a little bit, but at the end of the day, this was not a bad way to finish the season off. With the way that all the breaks went and everything else, I think you probably feel pretty satisfied with how it all ended
kind of
up.
worked in our favor. I think that the week off for the hurricane, and we had a couple days off from another hurricane.
Right.
I think it kind of messed with us a little bit as far as being in shape, the way we want to be in shape. And I think that we kind of made up that ground in the last couple of weeks, and now we have an off week, which we're right in the middle of right now. Another opportunity for us to become even more healthier.
Right.
So-
That's it. So you get the week before the playoffs to get healed up. You got the momentum from the last 2 games, confidence building kind of situations, district wins, and now you're going to kind of go into that first round playoff game. And I think you'll probably as well, if you could have mapped it out and drawn it up and said this is where I want to be. I think that's where you're at with this whole situation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think if anyone looks at our schedule from the beginning of the year before we played a game, and you said, "All right, you're going to be 9-1, home field advantage to the playoffs," and are you going to take that? And I think my answer would have been probably yes. I'll take that.
Looking at the schedule,
Yeah.
there's no doubt about that. Well, again, we're here back at Bogies after our little hiatus last week. Went down to your office, did a little
spooky,
Halloween,
little spooky.
Halloween fun with that,
Little
and
dungeon.
back here, but pulled in the parking lot, and it was season's here, man.
Yeah, you
They're
can start
all
seeing
here.
it. You can see it for sure.
Now again, it's always sometimes it's always funny here. Parking lot's full, place isn't all the way full. I don't know how that works, but it seems to work that way sometimes.
Well, I got something new tonight.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
I want to tell you. I didn't tell you over there, but it's the best thing I've had here.
So that it was the
Well, it was on the special menu. It was the French dip, roast beef French dip.
and it looked good.
So if it's ever on the special menu, you need to check that out because it's the best thing I've ever had here.
And we've been also commenting how the new menu, which is since the reopening of Bogies after the remodel, has really been an uptick in regards to the different foods. Quality food seems to be really good. So if you haven't seen Bogies in the last 4 months or so, inside it's different. The menu's been improved, and things are getting looks really good going into the holiday season for the folks at Bogies. So join us when you can, or at least come on down and watch some football on the weekends. With that, we'll take a break, come back and see the highlights from Friday night's win over the Riverview Rams. And after that, we'll talk maybe a little bit about expectations regarding the next part of our season. See if we can talk about that as well. With that, we'll be back right here at Bogies after this.
Thank you to our 2024 sponsors, Jenkins Chevrolet, the Hupp Group, Venice Pest Control, Sarasota Ford, Tervis Tumbler, Absolute Aluminum.
Last, we'll have to thank SCF, State College of Florida, Lightning Fast Car Wash, Bogies of Venice, and Chick-fil-A in Pelican Plaza.
Education, career, future. Find yours right here at the State College of Florida. If you want a flexible schedule with classes offered on campus and online, plus several program options for in-demand fields, look no further. Create your own path today at scf.edu.
Back here at the John Peacock Coach's Show. And, Coach, this time change. It's also got us.
I love it.
See, I do too. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't. I like it at the beginning.
I love coming out for a football game and it's dark.
Yes, and there's something about that just makes it a little bit different because you know where you're at in the season.
Right.
You know that this is the good part of the season. So
Fun part of the season.
The darkness and that kind of stuff. But it's definitely got me a little bit off. I'm usually getting to look at the sunshine over my shoulder.
We'll be able to
not,
see
not
our
tonight.
flames when we come out of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
The lights flashing will be a little bit brighter.
This needs to go down about 8 to 10 degrees when the sun goes down a little more. It's still a little humid. I like that drier air, a little drier air.
It's been nice at practice.
Listen, I'm not complaining, but I'm saying
Yeah.
a little bit more.
I didn't even break a sweat today.
You have to run around a lot to break a sweat at this point in time. With that, we'll go right to the highlights from last Friday night's game. Here we go.
So we came out. They deferred, and we got the ball first. We had a nice little pass there from Jace to Ryan. And then Gator has a nice run here. Let's see how patient he was, waiting for his blocks. And then he just kind of accelerates through the hole and he gets all the way down to the 10 or right outside the 10. And then Gator finishes off there with a touchdown.
And he just kind of follows real close to the backs. Nobody can kind of see him, and then he's in the end zone.
And then defense came out and played lights out. I'm not sure. They didn't get a first down for a while.
Yeah, there was quite a few 3 and outs.
Yeah, they got to the ball really well. Then we got the ball back and see Winston. Winston had a big night. He made a lot of plays for us there, just making some people miss.
And he had one of the few penalties of the night. He had a punt return taken
Oh
away.
yeah, that was heartbreaking to see that. But there's Macho Macho had a nice game, like we mentioned earlier. Again, the offensive line did a great job opening up the holes there. And
if there's no numbers on their jerseys, you know who was running the ball based on their styles.
yeah, no doubt. And there's again Macho. It's nice hard run, breaks a couple tackles, and gets in for the second score of the night.
And there wasn't much room for running or anything in the game.
No, we did a really nice job shutting down their run, and I want to say maybe they only had 1 or 2 completions the first half.
Yeah, they
Landon Marshall with a nice tackle for loss.
Maybe 1 or 2. You're right.
Oh, this was a big hit. We got a penalty on that, but I they said roughing the passer, and I said, well, we're trying to rough him.
Yeah, it's football.
Yeah, but they did it. They played well all night long. The defensive front. Zarkowitz had a nice game. Defensive line all had a nice game. This is a nice pass to Winnie here.
And Nixon was taking what they gave him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a little shorter stuff, but
when you do that, you take what they give you. You end up having a big night.
Right.
All that little stuff adds up. See Gator again, nice run, all the way to the house for a touchdown. I think he had 10 for 132.
Yes, he was about 13. There's a lot. It happened a lot in that game. There was a lot of negative yardage in the game. Our defense was in the backfield. I think there was, had to be a lot of negative yardage just on the running side.
Yeah, I think their quarterback ended up with negative 72, and I think total was maybe 24 yards rushing.
I think they had negative yardage rushing altogether.
Oh, they
total.
did.
But but again, it was a lot of that was with the quarterback getting hit.
That's
the one that got to call back here.
Yeah.
And again, it was one of the. He looked like he was had a nice little thing, broke out of it. Then that one play was a hole.
Right here is what I'm talking about, like just a nice little hitch, and we turned into a 35-yard gain or a 25-yard gain. And
is this the catch?
One-handed catch.
If you see it, it's just one-handed, and he never lets it go. It looks like he dropped it, but he. We said that had to be something to go top 10
We're going
plays.
to talk about that and for the playoffs. So we're going to try to use both hands in the playoffs. Kane Judson getting some pressure. Another sack by Shari.
Yeah,
Shari had 2 sacks. So we got close to a safety there later on here. Another nice run by Dorian. And then Matulovic again, the 5-yard hitch turned into a 13-yard gain.
and he has a nice touchdown catch as well.
Yeah, he does. He went over top of somebody. Almost got in there.
Yep.
Jace did a nice job putting some touch on there. That pass, Gator. I think. Oh, Gator had 3 touchdowns.
He did.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns.
They used three quarterbacks in the game too. They tried 3 different guys.
I think they're trying to find their way of who they want to go with. But yeah, all three of their quarterbacks did play against us.
Nice play right there as well. And that was pretty much there wasn't much going on in the line of scrimmage for them. But I thought the 2D tackles played really well.
Yeah, they had one long run. See, Kanai Brantley makes a great play there. Does a great job getting over top and then making a play there at the end with interception.
Yeah, he played offense on that one. He high pointed.
Yeah,
that thing,
he did a really nice job on that. See Winston again, just taking a nice little swing route and turning it into a 25-yard gain. That's huge.
Patient run, patiently looking for space.
Again, a nice little now play, for 5 or 6. Or actually, that was 4th down there, 4th and 1.
And this is another. Is that Ryan?
No, that's Winston.
Winnie, yeah.
That's Winston. And I think Ryan's catch is right here, where he does a nice job going over top of the defender.
1 foot inbounds and makes a nice play.
Does a great job right there.
Nice little soft landing on the
Yeah.
pole vault pit. Now we're starting to see some of the twos.
Aaron,
get in the game.
See Aaron, he does what he does. He comes in there and wrecks house.
Tackles for loss guy is what he is.
Nice play by. That's a big loss.
This is a 33-yard loss right here.
Yeah, this is the third quarter.
Yeah.
Great interception. Great job. Bunch of guys right there by the ball.
Maldonado on the
Yep.
interception. No, or that was Neely.
Oh yeah, Neely.
Yeah.
Montevallo
Yeah.
had the sack earlier. Schaefer came in, did a nice job, completed some balls.
Just another of those errant snaps. And that time, guy recovers it, gets the yardage. That's always a bad spot for him. Another sack.
Yeah, the twos came in. They put some pressure on them. Did a good job. Did some nice things. There's
Malachi.
Malachi kind of had a quiet night, but sometimes that's what happens. But he's been showing up every game, week in and week out. Someone that's very, very dependable. And this Landon Green with a nice catch.
So a lot of highlights in basically 2 quarters of football for the starters. But again, we saw the backups, the second team guys get in there and making splash plays as well. So that just makes it an encouraging situation to know that those guys are ready to play when they need to.
Yeah, they deserve it. Whenever we get an opportunity, they always deserve a chance to play. And they did a nice job Friday night. Like I said earlier, I thought our offense was very, very efficient in the run game, the pass game, and I thought special teams was just as efficient in everything that we did. So we're trending in the right direction as far as clicking on kind of all cylinders and becoming a fresh football team and kind of eliminating a lot of penalties and being able to play a clean football game.
It's funny how the first couple games of the season you're watching the game and our tempo looks a little frenetic sometimes. Like you're
Right.
going so fast and it just looks like it's like maybe it's a little out of control sometimes. But the same tempo week 10 looks calm and collected.
Right.
It's like from
Smooth.
going. Listen, Nixon knows where to go.
Yeah.
He pre-snap, he knows what to do. The O-line is lined up right away. Everybody's in their spot in a much more. The pace is the same,
Right.
but the way they go about it is so much more calm.
It doesn't look like a fire drill. It looks
Right.
like we know,
Right.
we got this thing down.
Nobody's running. They know when the play's over, they're going back to their spot. They're not getting up and chitter chatting with somebody. They're just going boom, right to their spot.
Right.
And when you watch that, you don't recognize until you look at the scoreboard and said, well, we just scored a touchdown in 4 plays in 1 minute.
Right.
It's like then you realize like, okay, so we are still going that fast.
Right.
And I will say this too, the one time this year we didn't go fast, which was IMG, it still had the same calmness to it.
Right.
They were standing up straight, waiting for the play call, but they just kind of like they're relaxed in their spot. So you got to feel like mentally at this point, and we always talk about the physical side of the game, but mentally at this point they seem to be
Oh yeah.
super focused on their jobs.
They played 11 games, counting the kickoff classic, and we're not real multiple in our run game and stuff like that. So I think that as an offensive line, that's where it's all starts. So I think they're real comfortable in what we're doing and comfortable with the call being made and what their job is.
Like you talk about Winston during that game, how every pass he caught it first, made a move, got his yardage, went on from there. The punt return that was called back, there was 1 cut, 2 cut, go.
Right.
It wasn't like I'm going to have to do this on my own, or I'm not going to have to double back and do something. The recognition is now, if I just go here.
Yeah, they did a good job blocking.
Really
and,
getting that now. And
picking that up.
Yeah, and it's like, and you see it. I said, you talk about the efficiency of the 2 running backs as well for us. But like I said, if you took those numbers off their jerseys, their style, but the effectiveness is the same.
Right.
They're coming off their blocks. They're doing all the right things. So it was a very kind of interesting way for me to look at it this game, because I was like, I'm watching the game and I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, wow, okay, that didn't look like it was super fast, but it was a 1 minute drive.
Right.
And that's when you can do that in a situation where maybe a team doesn't feels a little overwhelmed. That's hard to overcome because they become the frenetic team.
Right.
They become the guy who loses their pacing, loses everything else, tries to do something extra, and it's a hole.
Whenever you can get that tempo
else.
going and you're productive, it just puts so much more pressure on the defense.
Yeah, it really does. I know, but looking at the stat line a little bit, I know Coach Shannon was happy about that game as well too, because they've got guys that they're playing quarterback position and playing all. They've got athletes, And you're always concerned about what an athlete might be able to do to you, and you kind of get somebody who gets hot to go, and all of a sudden you're not in the right position, and they're hitting a home run on you. And I think you're going to be happy with how well they played their assignment.
They did a great job Friday night.
Yeah, no doubt. So with that, we'll take a timeout. Come back and let's talk a little bit. Well, maybe we'll do a little bit of a rewind and talk about what we went through to get where we're at, and then we'll maybe speculate as to see where we're going to go and some of our opponents. Be back here at Bogies for the next part of the John Peacock Coaches Show right after this.
Thank you to our 2024 sponsors, Jenkins Chevrolet, the Hupp Group, Venice Pest Control, Sarasota Ford, Tervis Tumbler, Absolute Aluminum.
Last, we'll have to thank SCF, State College of Florida, Lightning Fast Car Wash, Bogies of Venice, and Chick-fil-A in Pelican Plaza.
Education, career, future. Find yours right here at the State College of Florida. If you want a flexible schedule with classes offered on campus and online, plus several program options for in-demand fields, look no further. Create your own path today at scf.edu.
And we're back here at Bogies and the John Peacock Coaches Show. And Coach, 9-1 after the regular season, 10 games, played some really, really good football teams. Let's looking back at the schedule, it played out. So I think that overall, 6 of the teams we played were in and around, or at least were at the top 25 in the state.
I looked today. There was four teams that we played that are in the top 50 in the country.
Okay.
4.
And going back to Kickoff Classic.
5 of you to add them.
Right. And so you look at that and you say that run, that gauntlet.
Gaston County is number 1 seed in their class. You got CCC, who's 1 or 2 seed in their class.
They're 2.
They're behind Gadsden. Then,
right.
And then, so some really good football, and I think when you challenge your team each week, and then you get into the playoffs, this is kind of where you want to be.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And all those, and you watch these teams, and I'm gonna have a keen eye on what they do in the playoffs, because you want to see how well they perform. Because it's sort of like, you can't play every team in the state.
Right.
You can't. You only have so many games you can play, and you can't play. You don't put to play certain teams in different classifications. So watching them advance or whatever they do against other teams, you can kind of put a benchmark of what you did and how you perform with them. And because I think there's always that curiosity. Okay, so how they do, or how good really were they at that time, or whatever it may be. This is where the proof is in the pudding. They're going to be playing a playoff run like we are going to play a playoff run.
Correct.
And you'll know how good they are. And then obviously it's kind of nice to see them have some success, because you want to measure yourself up against the best teams.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement in the state. A lot of teams that had to forfeit games.
Yeah.
Big one this week was Miami Central, who had to forfeit all of their games.
Yeah.
So they're out of the playoffs, and it kind of opens up for our good buddy Teddy.
Yeah, that from Miami Northwestern.
Yeah, they lost to Central by 4, I think, in the regular season, but gives him a clear path of, as far as, because they were going to play each other in the region. So
right, because they're right there.
Might help them get out of the region and get a little farther first year. So it might end up being a really, really good year for Coach Bridgewater.
No, especially coming right in, new guy coming in and being able to sort of turn it around as quickly. Not that it was terrible.
Oh, right. No,
because you had talked about it years ago, how they fired a coach who made the playoffs and
fired a coach who won like 4 state championships and he lost 2 state championships to Miami Central, and they fired him, and expectations are a little different. Yeah,
the guy up the block is beating you. That's not going to wait. They're not going to cut it down there.
Correct.
For sure. With that, like I said, you look back, but I said you got to look back, and you say to yourself, like I was saying earlier, you've seen the growth, and how much of that is the schedule. What part does that play in it as well?
I think it's the schedule is really, I think, is the most important ingredient. You cannot, in my opinion, you cannot get to where you want to get to if you're not playing those type of teams, because you don't know if you're not playing those type of teams, and you're not challenging your team every week. you're never going to get there.
Right.
You'll never
Right.
get. It's
Right.
not like you're going to all of a sudden like we're just going to rise above so much higher than everybody else. No, that's not how it works. You're going to rise to who you play.
Right.
And you're going to. That's your standard is what your schedule is. So if you're not scheduling, the best folks you can, then when it comes time to figure out who's going on to the next round, you won't be you.
You don't know how good you are till you
Right.
do it.
It won't be you. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's. I thought there was an interesting comment early in the year at the media day that we do. Anthony Tanica was asked a question about the schedule, if I'm not mistaken, and he's like, well, "We play everybody who comes in front of us," and it was a very calm response. It's not a
They're
direct
used
quote.
to it.
They're
They
used
know.
to it.
Yeah, they know that we're going to schedule tough, and that's part of it.
I'm playing against somebody really good every week.
Yeah,
and
every
that's
week.
and that's going to be how it works. And so when you say he's the number 1 this, or he's the number 3 this, or he's going to Ohio State, it's like, okay, so was the last guy.
So yeah, we've been seeing this all year.
Yeah,
It's nothing new.
and I think when you do that for 3 or 4 years,
That's kind of where we're at.
wow.
I want to say 17 is when I changed that philosophy and
Right.
went. So that's I don't know how many years is that?
That's 7.
7 years.
7
so.
or 8 years, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
so
7
that's-
years. So
And that's a long time now. That's the model that you put together
Right.
then, and it's held a successful journey all the way through.
you don't have a choice. Either you raise your game and raise your coaching and raise your playing, or you just end up losing every Friday.
And look around at the other teams that you're sort of going to compete with, locally and everywhere else. You see who's doing it and who's not, and you see how some are getting better with the same
Yeah.
philosophy. I'll say Manatee is one of those kind of teams locally.
Well,
we won't see them.
Look at Port Charlotte this year.
Absolutely
They
right.
finally
That was my
slayed-
next one.
They finally slayed the Giant and beat Naples.
Right.
I'm not saying this because they played us. I'm
No,
just
but-
telling you, but they played us and they got maybe their kids got used to that and used to playing a team like that, and now they slayed the Giant, who's been knocking them out every year.
Even our game with them, I think
Yeah.
that they came away from that with a
Yeah.
a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said about that for sure. So anyway, a great regular season, but it's nothing unless we keep on going forward and doing it. I know that's your philosophy. It's a good.
We're going to take it one game at a time, and that's
Yep. Yeah. No.
that's the main thing.
No doubt. Real quick, anything else you might know? I know crystal ball right now. You're kind of looking at maybe a playoff team in the first round. We're off next week as far as the game, as far as playing a game. But anybody you think that you might see?
The crystal ball says Haines City right now.
Okay.
The crystal ball also says, if you come talk to me about a state championship, I'm going to look at you like you have 4 eyes. Because we're not talking about state championships.
No, we're talking
right
about
now.
the next
We're talking
game.
about the first round.
Right, that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about for sure. No doubt about it. Well, Coach, another awesome season and another great show tonight. So we'll come back next week and do a little bit of, we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll wear, some other costumes or something we did the last time. We'll figure out some way to entertain you guys.
Is there any holidays next week?
Veterans Day.
Oh, okay.
See, we might be able to do something with that. Francis,
All right.
any ideas? He'll figure something out.
Yeah.
We'll do something. With that, we thank you guys for watching us as always. For John Peacock, I'm John Massoni. See you next time on the John Peacock Coaches Show.
What time is it? Game time. 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 Going beast mode when the game begin. I worked all summer to be a champion. At Venice High School, all we do is win. Man, it feel good to be an